Oh man, happy Friday. CNG, what's going on out there? This your boy G Walker, one half of the
Man,
CNG podcast, and you know who on my other side. Talk to the people, dog.
man, you already know it's CJ. How y'all doing on this beautiful Friday? Hope you guys are doing well.
All right. Hey, we got a special guest with us today, man. This guy is very good at what he does, man. It's an honor and a privilege to have him on our show today. You know, he's very active in the Bulls atmosphere, man. He's the CEO of Chicago Bulls Central. Man, you can catch him on YouTube. You know, he's in one of the groups of Chicago Bulls fan club. It's my man C Hayes right here, man. C Hayes, man. Go ahead and talk to the people. Introduce yourself before we get cracking, bro.
What's good? I'm CEO Hayes, and just Hayes, whatever is easier. Host of Chicago Bulls, Chicago Bears Central, Chicago Sky Central. Listen, if it's a Chicago sport, I'll probably cover it. I'm glad to be here, fellas. Glad to be here.
Man, it's so much that's been going on within this early season, man. And we're going to get to it, too. But we're going to start off, you know, it's been so many games already within this past week. We had to play the Sixers. We had to play the Jazz. We had to play – who am I missing, fellas? I know it was the Jazz. It was Brooklyn.
Well, Boston. We have Boston, and I believe we have Washington on Wednesday.
Yeah.
All right, so the first win we got was these guys right here. C. Hayes, man, tell me what you thought about this win right here, man, before we get into the footage, man, of your boy that went crazy with the three-pointers. What you thought about this game right here, man?
I mean, it was good to see. It was like the game where it just all clicked for Zach, and he realized how hot he was, and he killed it. He played with momentum, played smart still, even though he took a lot of shots. He was passing the ball, moving the ball well in this one. And, they were without Joel Embiid, but overall, I like the play of the team in this game for sure.
CJ, man, what'd you think about this win right here, man?
It was a collective effort, man. Everybody played well. Patrick Williams played well with 18 points. Vooch did a pretty good job, and DeMar DeRozan. So everybody pretty much had a collective effort in pulling out this win. They did an excellent job.
All right, with that being said, you know how we do it up in CNG. We're going to get into that footage of that boy, Zach, going crazy with the 11 three-pointers, man. It was something to see, and it looked like that knee is healed. So whoever want to talk, when they pop up, what did you think about his play? And we're going to get into the footage, but what did you think about Patrick Williams that game? What did you think? Like, wow, like, man, like we've been waiting on this.
For sure. With Pat, it's always this. Like, Pat is a player that doesn't have much confidence on his own yet. So you have to work in his confidence. And one of the things the Bulls did early in this game as well is they ran 3 sets for Patrick Williams early in the game.
But what he does is that if guys are going to leave him open, he's ready to shoot. And then off another time where he's roaming around in the paint to where he can come off of the screen, either drive to the basket or get a shot. So it's pretty much his positioning on the floor, I think, is what's giving him confidence, because when they stick him in certain spots, he seems to be undecisive sometimes. But when he gets to a certain spot to where he knows he can score, that's where he's more effective at.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's just that this game, he was juiced up, man. Like he was ready to play. Like he felt like it looked like he felt like he had something to prove. That monumental mistake that he made, even though it was a violation on Mitchell, Patrick Williams still should have had that rebound. Am I right or wrong, fellas?
You mean on the box out?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was crazy to see that situation happen. But I like what I saw from Patrick this game. I did not expect to see it. I did not expect to see him do this at all. He hasn't pretty much showed us any type of consistency as far as his game, as far as playing like this. So to see this was a welcoming sight. Even though that MB didn't play, it was still dope to see Patrick Williams get out there and win. And we finally get a win against the Philadelphia 76ers. But CJ, man, go ahead with your pass it to you, man, about these overlays about this Philadelphia 76ers game, man.
Well, I mean, we pretty much covered it as far as getting into it. I think you guys pretty much broke it all down. Zach Lavine, 41 points. What did he shoot? 11 of 13 from the three. So that's very efficient. I think he went 14 of 19 from the field. So the way that Zach was shooting in this game was just amazing. I'm just surprised that Philadelphia didn't contain him as far as making sure that he didn't get into a rhythm. You cannot let Zach Lavine get into a rhythm and knock down shots. He's very dangerous when it comes to that.
Yeah, so one thing we didn't talk about that same game. Hayes, didn't Vooch have a triple-double this game? What you think about this? And what do you think about us playing through Vooch more?
You got to play through Vooch more because Vooch is not only probably one of the highest IQ basketball players on the court for the Bulls. As long as Lonzo's down, he's going to make sure that he gets everybody involved. And when they do that, again, they were able to do it in this game because Embiid didn't play. But when the Bulls are able to play primarily through Vooch, you see almost everybody else has game, and the scoring's more balanced as well when you do that because it doesn't allow for the isolation ball. He's just a smart passer, a smart player. Even when he doesn't have his own shot going, I trust the way that Vooch is going to distribute the ball. And in this game, you got to see what Vooch looks like when he's not outmatched. Now, the problem with that is that there's a lot of defenders that give Vooch problems in the league, but when Vooch is on and you play through him, it makes the team way more dangerous.
I totally agree. It just seems like. Go ahead, CJ. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was gonna say I completely agree with C. Hayes, and C. Hayes to piggyback off of the whole thing with Vooch. With the whole thing, not Lonzo being on this team, he's your second best passer to me on this team as far as running the offense through him. It makes it easier for the rest of the Bulls players to get their shots off and get into an easier drive of the game. So it kind of blows my mind that you have some people out here saying that they want Vooch traded. It just doesn't make any sense to me.
You get that. Yeah. From people who just box score watch, right? And you get that from people who literally they see what Vooch did to Orlando and those stats, and then they bring it over and they're like, well, he's not giving us that. He must suck. And it's like he went from being the first option to a third option, which is already going to cut you down a lot. Then you have two very ball dominant players in Zach Lavine and DeMar DeRozan. But Vooch, if you look at it, he's been our most consistent player this whole season. DeMar's had some big games. Zach's had some big games, but Vooch has been steady the whole season. And that's because he just knows how to go about and pick his spots. And now that he's playing more down low than shooting out on the perimeter, you're just seeing him be a better player overall because of it.
Exactly.
Yeah, I agree with you guys. Vooch has been the most consistent player this whole season. He's hit some big shots late in games that I don't think nobody's really talking about. Some of these wins that we have gotten on that streak that we went through 2 games here, 3, it was because of Vooch. That's because of Vooch. So, I agree with both of you guys, man. He's been absolutely the anchor of this team, especially all season, man. I gotta agree. But CJ, we're gonna get who do we play next, CJ?
We got them Utah Jazz, man, and this is the guy that's on Utah. That seems like he's the number one option on Utah, and he's doing his thing, man. Lauri Markkanen, you remember who Lauri Markkanen is, right? Former Chicago Bull, former power forward. So, G. Walker, don't you have a clip of Lauri Markkanen? Why don't you play that clip? We gotta get into that.
Oh, we're gonna get into it because it was worthy of downloading. Here we go. Has always been the player I rooted for. It's just when he was here, I wanted him to be a little bit more physical on the defensive end. We all know Lauri can hit threes. We all know Lauri can dunk on people. We all know Lauri can do all that type of stuff that he showed us that game when we played against them the other day. But he faded away in the second half of that game. Am I right or wrong, Hayes?
Oh, you're right. Because I think he scored wasn't it 20 points in the first half, and then he ended up with 28. A big difference from him, but it wasn't like he started shooting bad either. It's almost like the offense just went away from him. Maybe we were just playing. I don't remember off the top of my head. Maybe it was just the off-ball defense was keeping him from getting the ball, but it was a completely quiet second half from him.
Yeah, I was completely shocked. Yeah, go ahead, CJ.
Yeah, it was definitely a quiet second half. As I'm pulling up the stats here, but they did lead going into the fourth quarter, so the Bulls pretty much went on that run in the fourth quarter. Lauri Markkanen was ineffective in the fourth quarter. I don't know who was guarding him. It could have been Patrick Williams. I'm not sure, but the Bulls actually. I don't think we don't have no final score of that game, but the Bulls actually ended up winning the game. So the fact that there we go. Thanks, G. Walker. Appreciate you.
No problem, sir. Anytime, my brother.
Yeah. But in the fourth quarter, the Bulls just ended up pulling away, man. Vooch, I thought was effective in the second half, and I thought that they just did what they had to do. It seemed like they just turned on the defensive gear, and it just seemed like they said, "Okay, Lauri is doing his thing. We're gonna shut him down." And once they shut him down, it was pretty much it for him.
Yeah, and I think that this also happened that game. Am I right or wrong? Both of these guys went for 30 apiece, right?
Yep.
So Hayes, man, please What did you think about this? Like it was beyond anything I thought. What did you think about that?
This was the game that I said afterwards. This was probably the best I've ever seen Billy Donovan stagger his lineups because
Okay.
Zach and DeMar both went off, but they had their times, right? There was a 6-minute period in which Zach Lavine was on the bench in this game, and DeMar completely went off. And then when Zach came back in, they played through Zach again. DeMar still got a couple, got his off as well. But I think when you see Billy Donovan and when he staggers DeMar and Zach, and Vooch also gets going and things like that, it can make this team dangerous because then you always have a player that's very different scorers, but that's always a threat to go for 30 in the game at any given time. And I like Billy's rotations in this one. I like the way that DeMar and Zach both picked their spots. And it showed how well they can play together, but you just have to do it in a very specific way.
Yeah, I agree. It's they're both two different players. One is has a little bit more burst. He has a little bit more juice. He has a little bit more bounce. He's a little bit more athletic, and that's Zach Lavine. But then you have DeMar DeRozan. He's a little bit more refined. He's a little bit more polished. He got a little bit better footwork. He's a little bit more physical. So to see that these two, actually have both of their games displayed at the maximum of their potential tonight or that night, that was a treat, man. That was a treat. That was really impressive to see. That was really impressive. But CJ, continue, man.
Yeah, man, that was a beautiful thing for Zach and Lamar to put up the game that they had, pretty much giving the Bulls the victory. But next up, we got the Boston Celtics.
Brooklyn?
No, this is Boston. This is but I believe this is the Monday game. So
I thought we played Brooklyn first.
No, we played Brooklyn last week.
Brooklyn was before the Philly game.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah. So this game in Boston, this was a tough one for the Bulls. This was a tough one. Going to the end of the first quarter, this was a score 25-28. Jason Tatum, to me, I thought came out. I thought him and Jaylen Brown was pretty much getting their turns off and scoring. So I just think it was at times. I thought the Bulls had him at times in the first quarter, but then you start to see Jason Tatum pretty much, pick his spots on the floor, hit his shots. Jaylen Brown started going to the basket, being a little bit physical with the Bulls, and start getting to the line a little bit. So I thought Boston controlled that first quarter. G. Walker, what did you think about it?
The first quarter, man, it's always a test of who's going to come out swinging or who's going to come out slow. And it was almost an even game at the first quarter. You just waiting to see who's going to, the Bulls have all season have shown inconsistency, whether we losing by a lot in the first quarter or losing by a little in the first quarter. So to see that we were down by 3, that kind of gave me hope that we will beat them again for the third time. So, Hayes, what did you think about this first quarter so far?
The first quarter in this game was cool. It was a mixed bag. I think both teams were trying to fill each other out, trying to set the tone defensively. I think the Boston Celtics had the more consistent defensive effort in this game overall, and that's why they ended up winning. The Bulls were sloppy in the first half, I think, in the total defensively in this game. And they brought it back up, but I think it was a little too late at that point. Plus, we lost DeMar in that. But in that first quarter, I like the way that they battled back and forth.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, and with the DeMar did have an injury. As we pulled it up, you see him laying down. I believe it was a quad injury, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
And what's kind of crazy about this is that DeMar did say that he's been dealing with this injury for the last 8 games. Now I want to get C. Hayes, I want to get your opinion on that, and G. Walker, I want to get your opinion on that. What you think about that statement right there about DeMar DeRozan? DeMar DeRozan, that he's been dealing with this injury for the last 8 games.
I think it kind of makes sense when you see DeMar at times over the last 8 games prior to this. He was deferring. He didn't shoot the best percentages in some games, and some games it just seemed like he didn't have it. He wasn't his usual self. Not that he was bad, but he just wasn't his usual self. So once he said, "I've been dealing with this for 8 games," like, oh, that makes some sense in what we've been seeing here lately. And it's at least it coincided with Zach stepping his game up, right? Because Zach's been steadily improving and getting more comfortable getting to the line over the last 8 games. Mm-hmm. So it was good that those two things kind of overlapped, especially now with DeMar being out. But, DeMar's a warrior. And even DeMar missing the last game, and they've already ruled him out tonight, I know that kills him and hurts him because DeMar will play through anything. But for him to
That's
be playing
true.
through that hamstring injury for 8 games, just to me, just shows how important it is for him to try to win and to right this ship that the Bulls have gotten off to so far this season.
Yeah, it sucks, man. But you also want to see what the other guys are capable of, because a person like me have always said that DeMar, he kind of holds on to the ball a little bit too long. He doesn't always make the initial pass in the corner to Patrick Williams or Caruso or whoever. So I wanted to see what Patrick Williams could do and step up in this game, what Ayo can do and step up in this game, what Caruso could do. They all could step up in this game and see what they could do without having the safety net of DeMar DeRozan in the game. Um, so this injury, as bad as it seems, at least it happened now, before the All-Star break or in really, really important games that we're going to need him to have him down the road in the end of the season. And but I also just wanted to see what Patrick Williams and all those other guys can do. And they I don't know, they left a lot to be desired. What you think about that, A's? When he went down, did anybody step up?
Nobody except Zach Lavine. Zach put the team on his back in that fourth quarter and tried to win that game, and he did not get any help at all. And that's one of the biggest concerns in this with this team is that the bet on continuity that AK made, I understood it, but that meant that you are expecting Ayo or Patrick Williams to make a considerable step up to the next level. Neither one of them have. And not that I'm down on either one of them. I think they're still going to be good players over the course of their career, but they need to realize the moment, and they need to realize that, okay, with DeMar out, it got to be through committee. And the fact that Zach didn't really get much help down the stretch of that game, that's why we ended up losing against Boston.
I totally agree. Go ahead, CJ.
And I was thinking too, as far as those two young guys in particular, Kobe White and Patrick Williams, and even Ayo, they have to pick and it seems like they walk around eggshells sometimes when they want to pick and choose to take over a game and do that. They have capabilities of doing that through confidence. But sometimes when you do see a player that's down that you pretty much rely on a lot, are you going to step up to the challenge and take that necessary role and say, okay, DeMar DeRozan just went down with this injury. Let me start playing more aggressive and let me start, seeing what I can do to help this team. They want to see the young guys do that more,
But
whether those guys
yeah.
are there or not.
But that's also because you have to see what they are without DeMar being there, whether he's injured or not. If your team is going to grow, then you having a guy like DeMar DeRozan, a guy that's pretty much demanding the ball, you know what I mean? He's an ISO player at his core. How are these guys going to learn how to play without DeMar if DeMar is on the court? Do you understand what I'm saying? Hey, does that make any sense to you as far as growth?
For sure. Yeah, and that's the thing is that's where you have to have a stronger minded coach, right? And Billy Donovan is, I think, the one that's failing these guys because I know it's easy, and a lot of people say, well, how are they supposed to grow if you have DeMar and Zach and they handle the ball a lot and things like that? They're volume scorers, but to me, we saw DeMar DeRozan still facilitate and help other young players grow when he was in San Antonio. You know what they have? They have Coach Pop there. So
that's a good point.
I think there's more than enough shots to go around, and you just have to have the mindset of, okay, this is when I'm going to try to get these players going. This is when I'm going to give them an opportunity to try to grow their game. And Billy Donovan doesn't do that. Billy Donovan just relies heavily on Zach, DeMar, and Vooch to really lead everything. Everybody else kind of has to get in where they fit in, and it's hurting in the sense of development of the younger players, I feel.
CJ, and that's something that we talked about as far as like Billy Donovan and his rotations and everything like that. So just speak on that before you get into your next overlay, man. And just speak on Billy Donovan as far as not using his kitchen or using his weapons as to their max potential as he should, as far as growing these young players and like that.
I was going to piggyback what Hayes just said because he brought up a good point.
Yep.
Because the whole thing with Billy Donovan and when they hired him, they said the biggest thing that he does is developing players. So when you see Hayes say what he just said, that's kind of concerning because that's kind of a 180 to what they brought you in for. If you're relying on three players to pretty much get your young guys up and development and up and moving as far as getting them the confidence to get their own shots, well, that kind of is taking off for what they brought you in for. So to me, when I see Hayes say that, it's kind of concerning because you're starting to see that trend to where he is deferring to DeMar, Vooch, and Zach. Those were the three players that were called out pretty much when that game in Minnesota happened, when they gave up 150 and when they played.
Yeah. Yeah, it's coming down to coaching, man, and it's just that Billy Donovan, he's a limited coach, and he has a whole set of players. He might have one of the best guard rotations in the NBA. See, hey, what do you think about that? We got Caruso, we got Io, we got Dragic. You know what I mean? Do you think that he's using his point guards, letting them run the show like he should, or he's like you say, he's just depending on Zach DeMar and Vooch a little bit too much, and it's not helping?
The only point guard he lets operate as an actual point guard as far as setting up offense, a traditional point guard, I should say, is Gorn. That's it. Like everybody else kind of got to get theirs in where they can. He doesn't have the point guard that he trusts to like run the half court offense. It's really DeMar and now Vooch lately more so running the half court offense. And so when you don't have a point guard that knows how to distribute the ball, knows how to pick rhythm, even when he had Lonzo didn't run the half court offense a lot. And I do think that that's
Right.
to the detriment sometimes. So I definitely would like to see him do that a little bit more.
All right, CJ. So what we seeing here in this overlay, man? What's going on right here, C?
Well, that was the end of the third quarter, and as you guys said, that the Bulls ended up losing this game 107-99. You could just tell that Boston just pretty much had a defensive mindset to pretty much stop those big three from doing what they needed to do, and it was kind of surprising because I thought the Bulls had plenty of opportunities to win this game.
Yeah, they
But
did.
it just seemed like Jason Tatum was at a whole nother level. Knew exactly what to do, knew exactly how to score. It seemed like Jaylen Brown played aggressive. Seemed like he attacked the Bulls head on, put his shoulder down, went to the free throw line a lot. Pretty much. So it just seemed like Boston had a game plan to play the Bulls physical, and that at times gives the Bulls problems when you have teams that come in and play them physical, and the Bulls don't have a good reaction to that.
Right, right. Because we almost won this game, but old reliable Al Horford had to be in that corner to hit that three that went in and then went out, man. That disgusted me.
Yeah, and here it is right here. He's, as you can see in this play, Vooch was caught in a bad spot because Vooch had to eventually guard who I think this is Grant Williams. So you see Zach Lavine was over here right now, but before that play happened, that wasn't the case. Grant Williams was over here in this area, and Vooch had to guard either Al or him. So nobody didn't really take Grant Williams, and it just left Al Horford wide open.
Yeah. So Hayes, man, old reliable Horford, man. Did you think he was gonna make this shot, bruh?
Man, listen, when it comes to Al Horford wide open, I'm always trust, no matter how crazy it looks, I always trust it to go in.
Mm-hmm.
He's just a
All right.
veteran player making veteran plays.
Yeah.
But all right, next up we got the Washington Wizards. This was the game from Wednesday. So, first quarter, Bulls had a pretty much a 31-25 point lead. Now, my thoughts on this first quarter is that it seemed like the Bulls were a little bit more focused, and I wasn't quite sure how they were going to come out in this first quarter, but it seemed like they had a little bit more pep in their step in this first quarter defensively. So that was my whole take on it. How was they going to come out defensively against this Washington Wizards team? Because again, Kyle Kuzma has been a problem for the Bulls, and with the other players that they have on Washington as well. But he's been the main guy that's been giving the Bulls a problem. So G Walker, as far as this first quarter,
Yes, sir.
do you think, as far as defensively for the Bulls, what did you think about this first quarter?
I ended up was watching the beginning of this game. It just seemed like they were just playing at a good tempo. They was kind of playing a little bit better defense. The ball goes in, some teams miss. In the beginning of the first quarters, it is what it is. It's you could tell who could probably win a game at the beginning of a game. First quarter, you can kind of tell, and this looked like based off them not having Bradley Beal, them not having Porzingis. And Hayes, who else was missing this game? I know it's Porzingis. It was Bill. Somebody else, Bradley Bill. Somebody else I'm missing, but they were missing and Gafford. They were missing a couple of their top guys. So I'm looking at it like 31-25. They missing their top three guys. We might actually win this game. But proceed, see.
Man, second quarter, the Bulls second
Oh
quarter,
my
you guys
God.
can see they stretched out that lead, man. They stretched it out. It was 59-46. So they did a outstanding job in that second quarter. And, they held that team to, what was it? 21 points. So
Yeah.
they again, man, defensively, the Bulls came out and played, good defensively, man. But I keep stressing defense because we go to the third quarter. What the hell happened?
Woo! Go back to that other. Go back to the previous overlay. The lead we had. That's that. What's that? A 13-point lead?
That's a 13-point lead. Now the Bulls
and go back
16,
to the other one.
They led 16 in that third quarter until this happened.
Oh man, Hayes, man, what do you think about this right here, bro? A 13-point lead to being down 7 at the end of the third, man. What the hell happened?
The team, the Bulls went on I think it was like a 6 to 8 minute scoring drive. I know the Wizards went on a 20-5 run, and literally every bucket on that run, I'm just like, man, what are y'all doing? What are y'all doing? The defense was terrible. The rotations out to the 3-point line were terrible. And neither team shot an overall good percentage from the field, but the Bulls just could not hit a shot for long stretches of time. And then on the other side of the ball, when they got down to the offense and set up their offense, people were just missing wide open shots. Like Zach Lavine should have had 11 assists in this game. There were so many wide open shots missed. The contested shots, okay, you're gonna hit some of those, you're gonna miss some of them. But the wide open shots that were missed by Patrick Williams, Ayo Dosunmu, Alex Caruso, Kobe White, all of them just missed some wide open shots. Yeah. You're just looking at like, how do you get paid to play basketball and you can't hit a shot wide open? That's crazy. And then the thing that frustrated me too so bad is that as many wide open shots as they missed, the way that if you just hit 2 of those wide open shots, you win the game. That's it.
Facts. Facts. Ugly stuff, right, CJ?
Yeah, man, completely. But in the fourth quarter, it was pretty much both teams I thought struggled in the fourth quarter. And as y'all can see,
I got something we got to do before we get to the final part of the game.
Go ahead.
Can I please interject? Please.
Yes, you can.
Bruh, this might not be the most clear picture, but what the hell was Zach thinking right here? We're down 3, and you shoot up for a 2, hoping to get a foul. Hayes, please walk me through this stupid ass play.
Zach Lavine needs to eat some Wheaties. I don't know. Like what's something that helps brain development? Maybe he needs to go back and get some damn Similac. I don't know. Like the fact that you have 2 players that are open in that. Go back to that real quick.
Oh, all right, hold on.
Either Vooch or Caruso, which Caruso's been shooting horrible. So I can understand if you don't trust Caruso shooting. Vooch has hit every big shot that he's gotten so far almost in this season. You have 2 players that you could have went to. And I understand it. Most of that game, it was Zach. If it wasn't for Zach playing the way that he was, we wouldn't even been in position to win that game. So I understand wanting it. But there's not, when you're down by 3, even if you think you're going to get the foul. I don't know if he's been watching DeMar too much. You're not DeMar DeRozan. You don't get to the line that often. Like it was it was literally just, I don't know. It was terrible basketball. That was just a bad decision.
Because Caruso is right there. Right? And Vooch got his hand up. Like, tell me, man, how did you feel about when you saw this crap, this BS, this bullshit right here? How'd you feel, man?
It comes back to immaturity, and it comes back to can Zach Lavine actually lead a team? It comes back to that. Because, the thing is,
totally agree.
I don't know what he was thinking here. And to me, I think what the Bulls got to stop doing, and we see this a lot from them, they always crying and looking for fouls. They just, and it seemed like it's a trending thing over the last several games. They don't get called for a foul. They cry a lot. They do this a lot. And I get it. The referees do miss some calls. But for him to take this shot thinking he was gonna get the foul it just screams stupidity to me.
Yeah, what I saw a guy that didn't, I'm a big pass, the initial pass guy. Pass the ball initially. When you go up, and you should know IQ, I got this guy on me, I got Taj right here. Somebody's open on the other side of his wing, whether it's the mid wing or the corner. Zach should have passed this goddamn ball. And this is why people are questioning him. Is he a $200 million player or is he a max player? This is where Billy Donovan has to design a little bit more. He is not DeMar. You know what I mean? And so it's bad habits. You should have passed to Caruso. He's wide open. And the guy ended up fouling him, but they didn't call it. And he was standing there like, yo, why you ain't give me a foul? Why you ain't give me a foul? He hit me. Like, dude. Like, you blew the game. Like, we worked our butt off to even get it close to this game that we should have won initially, and you come and you shoot a 2-pointer? Come on, man. Like, that's crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy. One of the worst players I've seen him do this season, and he has a few playing with the Bulls in his career.
Yeah,
So
pretty much that's why they lost 100-97. It's just a bad call on his part. And Billy Donovan, I didn't even think Billy Donovan said something about the play calling. I was trying to actually look for that statement, but I couldn't find it. But yeah, man, it was just very bizarre. Is what it was.
yeah, man. So Hayes, man, what did you think about this game right here, man? Like, it was crazy. We should have won, man. Right?
It was frustrating. It was crazy. It sucks. It shows why. Like, it highlighted almost every issue with this team. Zach Lavine's, as great as he played throughout the game, like I said, he gets kudos for that. The low basketball IQ. Io Patrick Williams not stepping up. Vooch didn't even step up, and we just needed some 2 shots. That's the thing that drives me so crazy about this game. Just 2 wide open shot. Come on, fam. But yeah, I mean, it was a fun game to watch overall, especially down the stretch of the way Zach Lavine played. But man, they shouldn't have even been in that position. This is a game that you should have went into and won, and Zach should have been sitting down in the fourth quarter because we should have saw Dalen Terry in this game. Is how I feel about the way that game should have went.
I totally agree.
Agree.
But yeah, so CJ, man, what we seeing right here? We got the OG Kendall Gill and this guy up here, which that's another subject for another day.
Well,
but what we got going on right here?
I mean, the whole thing is what I want to highlight is look at the record, 19-13. Excuse me, 19-23. Excuse me.
Yeah.
So, the Bulls did have a stretch where they was winning. They won what was it? 9 of the last 13 games or something like that. So now to see that they're kind of going backwards again, are they ever going to get over that hump to pretty much get themselves? Because I want the Bulls to get to the 6th spot. By the end of the year, I want them to be in that 6th spot. I don't want them to be in the play-in. So can they get over this hump as far as them being in this 10th spot and the way they're playing? It still hasn't happened yet.
I agree, man. Let's proceed, though.
All right. Well, hey, before we proceed, we're gonna tell Hayes we appreciate him being on the show. He has to leave. Hayes, we appreciate you, bro, for coming through, for giving us your knowledge and giving us the far as breakdown in these games. We appreciate you, brother, for that.
Anytime, fellas. Thanks for the invite, man, and I'll catch you guys again soon.
All right.
And before you get up, and where can everybody find you, Hayes, before you get out of here, man?
You can follow me at CEO Hayes, at CEO HAIZE on every social media platform. If you want to check out my show, it's Chicago Bulls Central on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, everywhere. You can check me out there.
All right. That's our boy Hayes. Thank you for blessing us with your presence, brother. And, enjoy your weekend, man.
Anytime, fam. Thank you. Have a good one.
All right.
But G Walker, let's we got a couple of trade quotes or actually before we do that, I'm sorry. This is the next games that the Bulls actually have on the schedule. As y'all can see, they got the Oklahoma City Thunder, excuse me, y'all. Yeah. Oklahoma City Thunder couldn't get that out on Friday. As you can see, they got Golden State coming up on Sunday the 15th. And then we got the game in Paris, man. That game in Paris that we was talking about at the beginning of the season. It is January 19th, 2 p.m. Central Time. So those are the next games coming up. But let's get into a couple of trade talks. G Walker, was this a trade talk or was this a statement? What's going on?
This was coming from an Eastern Conference executive on a potential Bulls trade. It's about Patrick Williams. His name's constantly being brought up this season about trades, does loans with a lot of people. But, so you just got to understand that this is part of the NBA and players get moved all the time. And Patrick, is one of the people that that's always coming up a trade talk. But it says there has been a lot of interest in Patrick Williams at Chicago, and the Bulls have not wanted to go that route. But if you had a package built around Robinson and Nikola Jokic and maybe Max Struss, who the Bulls always regretted letting get away, plus a first-round pick with the direction Chicago was going in something. Something like that is a starting point. Trading Patrick Williams. See, we have to establish what are we doing with this Bulls team, are we rebuilding or are we competing for playoff spots? So, CJ, what do you think about this quote about trading Patrick Williams? Is it too soon, or you like, you know what? I'm throwing my hands up with him. I'm done.
You know what, G Walker? I have thought about this probably the last couple of days, bro. This can go two ways. This can really go two ways, bro. The way that things are going right now, um, there could be a shakeup. You know, they could just tear it all down. And what I'm saying this is that they could potentially trade Zach Lavine. They could potentially trade DeMar DeRozan. They could bring in some young pieces and put it around Patrick Williams. That's one way. Another way is they can just trade a couple of players that maybe are not getting the playing time. Maybe like a Kobe White, maybe like a Alex Caruso. They can get some things going there. But the whole thing is that you know I don't see them trading Patrick Williams. The reason why I don't see them trading Patrick Williams is this: the kid is your best defensive player on the team. We've seen this kid come in and pretty much not shut down, but slow down best players on the other team. Can't come in their rookie season and put up 20 and then start just going off for the rest of their career. It's not, it doesn't go down like that. So when you got guys that are fourth picks and fifth picks in the draft who really don't come out and start off going good right away, you got to give them time. I think personally it will be a mistake for them to trade Patrick Williams. I really do. Because the whole thing with Lauri Markkanen is that Lauri Markkanen could not play defense. That was part of the issue and the problem what they had with him. We know he can score, but his whole thing is he wasn't a defender being 7 foot and he wasn't aggressive enough. Patrick Williams has showed you at this particular time of his career that he can be both. So I don't understand this whole trade scenario with throwing Patrick Williams' name in there. I really don't.
Yeah, man, it's just coming down to what, the inconsistency of Patrick Williams, his lack of aggressiveness, and it's going to only get worse because DeMar isn't in the lineup right now. And, a person like me who's always advocated that DeMar has to move in order for Patrick Williams to be who we really think he is, DeMar shouldn't be on this team going forward. And we saw a small sample of that against the team we just played with, the Washington Wizards. Mm-hmm. Where was Patrick Williams, man? Where was he at? And that's something that's going to keep coming up. And it's just like, dude, you're healthy this season. You trained with DeMar in the offseason. Everything is going in your favor for you to kind of just step up and be that guy for the future for the Chicago Bulls. So he's going to be under the microscope these next few games without DeMar. And he can't hide no more. He cannot hide. So Patrick Williams, man, as much as we don't want you to be traded, this is AK's first pick, his number 4 pick, his first pick of being the president of operations. He doesn't want to let him go, I'm sure. But the fan base is looking like, yo, what are we getting? One game you give us 10 and 5 and 5, and then you give us 6 points. Then one game you give us 18, 6 and 2 blocks and 2 steals. Like, what is the problem? You know what I mean? And DeMar's not in the lineup, so it's like, dude, you should be attacking and going crazy. There's nobody physically maybe outside of maybe a LeBron or Kawhi. Just his build alone gets Patrick Williams places that certain players can't get because they're not physical enough to do what he does.
And you know what though, G Walker? You know what I think it is too, man? You cannot be afraid to make a mistake. And that's part of the problem too. Even when you see it with Patrick Williams at times, he don't attack the ball because he's afraid he's gonna get it stripped. He doesn't go to the basket because he's afraid he's gonna get a charge. This is the NBA, bro. You're gonna make mistakes. It is all about how you correct those mistakes as the game moves along and how you get better as the game moves along. So with him, he has to get confidence out here to say, okay, DeMar DeRozan is not going to be playing. I got to step up my game. I got to come out here and make shots. I got to come out here and play defense to get the team going as far as being in a better position. So it's all about him having the mental mindset. All this is mental. Like I said, again, has nothing to do with physical ability, has nothing to do with, is he strong enough? Is he whatever? He has all those tools. It's a mental thing with Patrick Williams that he has to get over. He has to get that mental block out of his head as far as, am I going to make a mistake? If I do this move, is it going to get strict? Is it going to get picked off? What's going to happen? He has to stop thinking so much and just play. That's it.
I agree, man. And Patrick Williams is going to be under a microscope, especially with DeMar Green now. So hopefully he gives us more positive games than negative games. But we're going to move on to another player I found that this has been going on the last couple of days about Alex Caruso, man. He hasn't been really giving us nothing, man. Alex Caruso could be traded before the deadline. Caruso will likely net the Bulls a big trade package in return, which I doubt. Caruso is considered expendable with Ayo Dosunmu's development and Kobe White's improvement on the defensive end. This is per the Ringer. Alex Caruso for James Wiseman is a good deal. CJ, is this a good deal, man? Like the guy that's in Golden State, the center, he's not even playing. Like they could have just kept that out of there. They could have just, you know what I mean? So what do you think about this one, man? This is crazy. I
First
definitely
of
wouldn't
all,
mind trading Caruso, but I don't know about James. Why? What
yeah,
you think?
you're not. First of all, let's cut let's cut the bull. You're not gonna get Alex Caruso for James Wiseman. You're not gonna even get him if you trade a first round pick for him. And the reason why I say that is yes, James Wiseman is not right now the way he's looking so far. He's not looking like a top 3 overall pick. I get it. I really do. But it's all about what the player is worth. And right now, I don't think you trade James Wiseman to a Chicago Bulls team for Alex Caruso. It just doesn't make sense. But going back to Caruso, it's all about at the same time can Alex stay healthy, man. And the thing is, G Walker, he just has not been healthy over the last couple seasons. It's been times where he's gotten injured. He's been out. It was he was out 6 months with that injury that was caused by that jackass Grayson Allen in
Yeah,
Milwaukee. So
yeah.
it's like the thing with Alex Caruso is that can he stay healthy, and also with him is confidence too, because at times Alex Caruso will pass up wide open shots. And at times he will miss wide open shots. So with him as well, it's all about his confidence too, because sometimes when you do get hurt, it's all about a rhythm. Alex Caruso is a rhythm player. So if he's in a rhythm, if he starts playing well, he's going to play well. Once he get out of rhythm, it's going to take him a long time to get back into rhythm. And that's what a lot of these players, so they have to find other ways to affect the game if the shot's not going down. But we have not really seen that from Alex Caruso on the defensive side neither. So I really don't know what's going on with him. They paid this guy $9 million a year. And right now, he's not, for what his contract is worth, for what they brought him in for, he's really not looking like that type of player. I don't know what's going on with him.
Yeah, he's just been ran through the ringer, man. We played with the Lakers and doing a lot of heavy lifting, man. A lot was expected of him on the defensive end, and that's pretty much what he can give you. But it seems like he hasn't been doing that well at all. And he's not really been shooting the ball like we want him to, at least for the shots that he should take if he's open enough to take them. So, this trade right here, I don't like this trade at all. Wiseman, no. Because what is Wiseman going to do here that he's doing in Golden State? And if he was really so good, why does Golden State won't even want to get rid of him?
Well,
This is probably
that's
tied
true.
to Steve Kerr. There's a meme going around. Steve Kerr wants Alex Caruso, and he saw him when they played the Bulls and all that. So Kerr wants a championship guy, and he thinks that uh, Caruso is a championship guy. So this is probably what that's coming from, but I would not trade. I don't know, man. I would not trade, especially Kobe White and Dosunmu for Wiseman. Like, why the hell would you do that? That is stupid.
Yeah, it's just not. I mean, Golden State is. I mean, for Golden State, that would be a good trade for them because they'll get rid of a rookie that they feel like that's not a rookie but a young player that they feel like is just not some reason he's either injury prone or he's just not getting it. Who knows? Um, but at the same time, AK is not going to do a trade that doesn't make sense, and it's like if you're going to trade 3 guys you got to get something back, because now you're not going to have a guard. If you trade Ayo and you trade Alex Caruso, the only guard you're going to have is Gordon Dragic. So it just doesn't make sense. But I just don't see that happening, in my honest opinion.
Yeah, go ahead, CJ. Go.
I just don't see that happening, in my honest opinion. But other than that, man, that's pretty much what we covered. We covered the Philadelphia 76ers. We covered the Utah Jazz. We covered the Boston Celtics, and we covered the Washington Wizards. The Bulls do have a game tonight against the Oklahoma City Thunder, and they got the same Golden State team is coming in on Sunday, and then we got that game in Paris, man. So we got some pretty interesting games coming up. It's gonna be interesting. Lauri Markkanen, he's definitely gonna be an all-star this year. So we got a lot of stuff going on, and within the next couple of days. But other than that, man, I think that's pretty much it for this. Unless G Walker got anything else to say, that pretty much is gonna wrap it up for this show.
Now that's it for me too as well, man. It's been a great show. Shout out to our boy Hayes of Chicago Bulls Central, Chicago Bears Central, Locked On Bulls. You know, on the Chicago Bulls fan club page from Facebook. You know, if you like this video and you like this content, please share it. Please like it. And please give us a follow on the CNG Podcast page on Facebook. We're also on Twitter. We're also on YouTube. And we're on Instagram. So I don't have nothing else. My partner CJ don't have nothing else. Have a good weekend, CJ. Have a good weekend to our listeners and our followers and our watchers and everything like that. And go Bulls. We need to get this win tonight. And that's it for me. CJ, you got anything else, brother?
I ain't got nothing else to say, man. Hopefully Bulls get this win. Other than that, y'all have a good weekend, man. Get out the house, have some fun, man.
God bless.